and get this party started.
Hey friends, welcome. Welcome everybody. Hello. We are so excited you're here. Welcome, welcome everybody. All right, as we are getting started, let's put our names in the chat and tell us where you are zooming in from. Hey, Kathy Pratt. Hey, Martha. Hey, Quinny. Megan, hi. Hey, everybody. Erin, Trisha, Lena, Frida, Jane. Hey, friends. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited you're here. We're
We're
just
just
checking
checking
in
in
the
the
chat. So tell us, hello, where you're calling in from and what you are liking about the planner or what questions you have about it. And so we're going to just do this for, 3 more minutes or so, and then we'll get started. We've got Santa Fe, Cincinnati, Somerville, Massachusetts, Central Colorado, Miami Beach, Durham, North Carolina, St. Louis, Kingston, New York. Patsy, I don't know how to say it, but I have a crush on where you live. Patsy's in the UK. Newfoundland, Berkeley, California. Hey, welcome everybody. The Lakes region of New York, Canada. Amazing. Northern California, Vermont. We've got people all over the country and beyond here. So, welcome everybody. Ah, I'm the best greeter. Thank you. That's not true, but I will take it. I'm working for it out here. Welcome everybody. Peg says for the planner, I'm liking the encouragement to do it my way, and that I'm super curious about what might be the organizational principles of it, how the tarot and the signs fit together, and learning. Yeah, I'm just learning about the Decans as well. So, hello from Vermont, Kathy. Hey, Kenning, Raleigh, North Carolina. Curious how to work with the elements and sensory elements on the right side. Quinn is liking the colors. I also like the colors, which I heard Shay say this and completely full-heartedly agree that it is adult esoteric Lisa Frank, and it really speaks to my soul and is exactly what I needed. So, welcome everybody. Are we seeing people still coming in, Shay? Let's get started. All right. Hey, everybody, welcome. We are so excited that you are here with us on the live version of the 36 Portals uh, planner launch, 36 Portals to Aliveness. I have it right here. I'm so excited to be with you all today. And so we are going to get started. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we're going to spend our time together. But I'm Beth Howard, she, her. I am a proud Kentuckian from Lexington, Kentucky, but calling in, visiting right now from West Virginia, where I'm at a conference in my beloved Appalachia. And so I get the great pleasure of being the host here for us today and facilitating this conversation. And there's going to be mostly hearing from our creators and a lot of time for Q&A too. And so today we are going to, first of all, we are recording. And so just noting that, and respond to your needs. Come and go, and we'll send the recording out if you can't stay for the whole thing. And if you're not here live and you're watching this in the future, hello, friends in the future. We're so excited to have you with us. So we're going to start by having a little bit of an offering and a calling in of the dead that Shea is going to start for us to set our time together and kind of set the room. I'm going to introduce the 36 Portals team, and we're going to hear from them. We'll start with the Cosmic Jukebox playlist curators, and then have a conversation with the creators about 36 portals. And then we're going to do a ritual, and it's a seed planting ritual for embarking on our journey together with this planner. We are going to have a Q&A, and then there is a raffle drawing. So someone is going to win a very juicy reading with Shea and Cory and some beautiful art from Elena. So thrilling. All right. So let's get into it. All right. Shea, do you want to kick us off?
Happy to. Thank you so much, Beth. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. It's so amazing to see all of you. And just shout out to my friend Peg. This was her idea. She was like, we thought about doing a launch, and I hadn't. So thank you so much, Peg. So I'm going to make an offering on our behalf. And actually, I want to use the fancy incense for this. So, calling in all of our beloved dead and all of our allies in the seen and unseen worlds to be present for any messages that want to come through our time together. And we're just going to take like a couple minutes, and you are invited to either come off mute and speak your beloved dead's names into the space, or to write their names in the chat, human or non-human. You can invoke them in your mind, any way that you want to do it. And then we'll just take a couple of minutes to do that. Welcome to you, Mary. We're just calling in the dead in this couple of minutes, and then we'll get started. So good to have you here, Mary. Thank you, everyone, so much for invoking your dead. Uh, they're here anyway. It's nice to welcome them warmly. And before I turn it back to Beth Howard, the hostess with the mostest, I want to thank her for driving tonight in the Zoom room. So deeply appreciated. And I want to make sure that literally everyone in the Zoom room has pre-ordered Beth's forthcoming memoir, Song for a Hard Hit People. Just going to drop the link in the chat. A memoir of anti-racist solidarity from a coal miner's daughter. And this Beth's memoir is being published by Haymarket Books on April 21st, a month from now. There's a link here in the chat where you can pre-order the book and get a copy signed by Beth along with some swag. And, you know, it's just blurbed by some people like Robin D.G. Kelly and Dr. Angela Y. Davis. That's all. No big deal. Just an incredible piece of political storytelling that, like, I cannot imagine a story that we need more in these times. So, just want to make some commotion. Pre orders are really important. So, please consider pre ordering now, letting your friends know about it. And also, I just want to also drop this link because Beth also sends out a great newsletter called Working Class Love Notes. And with that, Beth, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for welcoming here and um, welcoming me here and letting me drive the Zoom room today. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to introduce each of our creators here today. And when I talk about you, I want you to wave, blow kisses, do whatever you're going to do to make sure and take up that space. And then for the rest of us, I want to rain down emojis on these folks. I want emojis in the chat. I want reactions in the Zoom box. I want sparkle fingers. I want love. I want if we were in person, we would be getting in trouble for being so loud and full of love right now. All right. First, let's introduce Elena Solano, a queer artist, tarotist, arts-based symbolic researcher, liberation-minded psychotherapist, and creative consultant living in the center of current-day Texas. Elena, yes. All right. Cory Nakasue is a professional astrologer, writer, performing artist, and somatic coach and teacher. Cory. Shea in the Catskills is a queer artist, tarotist, intuition facilitator, and library clerk living on Esopus land, currently known as Phoenicia, New York. Robin Palmer lives in Shelburne, Vermont, but often dwells in the 11th house. She loves digging deep on her fixations, and the Cosmic Jukebox Project is the perfect pairings of two things that really light her fire. Did you get the Doors joke? See that? All right. Um, Aaron Rodriguez. Aaron Rodriguez is an organizational death doula, a painter, a cosmic DJ, and a brand new baby tarotist living in Somerville, Massachusetts. And let's give it up for my friend Quinn Doyle, a tarot reader, psychotherapist in training, and music obsessive based in the Hudson Valley. As a tarotist, she goes by Quinn of Cups. I cannot. Is that not the greatest name? I mean, I cannot. All right. So let's get into the conversation. So, the Cosmic Jukebox team, it's your time. And so I want to see Robin and Aaron and Quinn. And Quinn, I want to hear from you first because a bird told me that you have to fly away a little early. So when we talk through these questions, let's hear from you first. But one of the things that I love about this planner is that there's a soundtrack to it, friends, the Cosmic Jukebox. And so let's hear from our DJs, our Cosmic Jukebox team. And so let's start with you, Quinn, and then let's go down the line to Robin and Aaron afterwards. But what was your process for song selection and your favorite song pick in the planner? And anything else, obviously, that you want to share, but process for song selection and your favorite song pick.
It's so good to be here with everybody. I'm so thrilled for this planner. My process for song selection was lengthy and also very short. Whenever I hear a song and I think of a card, I text it to myself. So I had the process of searching my texts when I was trying to find a song for a correspondence with the Decan and for anything else that I didn't already have, which was a lot of them because the pips are, for whatever reason, challenging for me. I told Shay to give me the utmost deadline, the absolute deadline. And about an hour before, I went into a frenzied headphones on, apps, streaming apps up, like making all of the picks in a blitz. And I think some of those are my favorites. And which leads into my favorite song pick in the planner is the first one, Crown by Ava Luna. And that band, Ava Luna, they really remind me of the creative spirit of the Correspondence production team. Just so incredible and queer and art forward. So, yeah, yay.
Thank you. And Quinn, tell us a little bit about where we find the Cosmic Jukebox in the planner.
It would be my honor. So at the beginning of the Decans in the planner, right down here, you can find this handy dandy jukebox with picks for every single Decan in random order. So you don't know whose is whose unless you know, if you know what I mean.
And here in the front too, you can get QR codes to pull up the playlists that are on Tidal, Spotify, and QBuzz. But also you can pretty easily transfer from those platforms if you're on another one. So thank you so much, Quinn. Robin, let's hear from you. What was your process for song selection, and what's your favorite song pick in this planner?
I'm just going to jump in because I forgot to put in our run of show that Robin texted me earlier and she might need to drop her responses in the chat, which is completely fine. But yeah, whatever you need to do, Robin.
Yeah, I was just copy pasting into the chat. As you can hear, my voice is not great, and I'm gonna try not to be coughing too much. So it'll be in the chat in just 1 second.
All good. I'll read it out loud when it comes in. Take care of your voice. All right. Robin says, I looked through various tarot decks and referred to my tarot journal, Shea's Tarot as Questions, and also Meg Jones Wall's book, Finding the Fool. I wanted to think about music that felt like it aligned with the cards as much as the lyrics felt aligned. I also felt a bit allergic to things being a bit too on the nose. I mostly used my tarot interpretations as I chose cards, but when I felt a bit torn between two choices, thinking about the deck and really helped bring clarity. My favorite choice is probably Dan Reeder's work song for Dan Reeder's work song for Sagittarius Decan 3. I liked going a bit playful and bringing some humor to some of the heavier cards, and knowing a big card like 10 of Wands aligns with Sagittarius fit with that tendency so well. It was the most delicious thought experiment that is ongoing. I loved hearing the choices from the rest of the group too, and I'm always using this lens when listening now. Thank you so much, Robin. All right, and Erin, our final cosmic jukeboxer, tell us, what was your process and what is your favorite song pick?
Cool. Hi, y'all. I'm very happy to be here and love this new book. So I am a brand new baby tarotist and know enough about astrology for the decans to sway me too much. So I did not look at the decans at all when I made these playlists. I was just thinking about the cards. And I have to say, many times I started with the card and sort of felt my way into a song that felt right. But the best ones, my favorite ones on here, are songs that just got stuck in my head for 2, 3, 4 days. And the whole time I'm sort of holding them thinking, this is a card, but I don't know which one yet. And so I would let the song find the card. And those were always cool because they were music I haven't thought about for years. Which brings me to my absolute favorite, which is The End by the Beatles, which is the end. And I didn't know it was the end in the Decans until I put it all together. So a Beatles song I have not listened to since a downstairs roommate destroyed Abbey Road for me in the late 1990s. But I just like all of a sudden needed to listen to Abbey Road all the time and couldn't figure out why. And then all of a sudden it was my Ten of Cups choice. So it really felt a little bit oracular. It was delightful. Thanks, y'all.
So magical. Thank you so much, Erin. Yeah, so as if the Lisa Frank vibes weren't enough, we also have a soundtrack, which like the 90s gal in me loves a soundtrack. And so could not be more perfect, perfectly made for me, and I think many of us. So amazing. Thank you so much, Cosmic Jukebox crowd. And now let's get into these to the creators, Shea and Cory and Elena. And Cory and Shea, I'm going to start with you at the top. And I want, as you start to answer my first question for you, to kind of also tell us what the planner is like. Like, I think most of us probably have it. Maybe it's in the mail, but tell us a little bit of what we find here, and what we should be looking for. And then my question to both of you to start this off is, this planner was just like had to be birthed in the world, and it had to be birthed by you all. And I remember Shea saying, I'm thinking about doing this planner thing, and here's what I think it could be. And I was like, yes, yes, please. Because I selfishly wanted it for myself. But even though I was just like, yes, please do that, it still took a lot of work in a very short amount of time to get from the like initial seed or the thought of like, I kind of want to do this to make this happen. And the two of you all working together, and then Elena coming in as well. And so, what about this had to be birthed right now? And what do you hope that it offers us at a time like this?
Cory, do you want me to start or do you want to start? Okay. So Cory and I had been collaborating for some time, actually, since the first time I was on Cory's podcast, The Cosmic Dispatch. We had our first convo about Gemini season, and it was like it was on. And we'd been sort of collaborating on doing readings together. We collaborated on getting through it together, which was a formation that we created right around the 2024 general election / eclipse season. So we'd had some experience working together and having the experience together of like, we want to do something, so we just do it without a lot of fuss and without a lot of muss. And we've been talking about the decans for some time. And I just want to sort of say to people that like hearing the decans, it can feel like something really technical. And like, if you want to go in a technical wormhole about it, you can. And also you can just think of it as like breaking the 365 days of the year into 10-day segments. That the decans technically are 10-degree slices of a 360-degree zodiac that kind of map on to the days of the year. And so, and Cory's the astrologer here, so she actually knows like more technically about that. But, I'm very much more vibes based. Just to say, I write you all the permission slip to be extremely vibes based about the whole thing. So we knew that we wanted to do something about the decans. We've been thinking about like a class, but it never really hit. And then I was in Kinning Zoo's Labyrinth Library. Shout out to Kinning. Just want to drop a link to Kinning's. Kinning is here this evening, dropping a link to Kinning's website. She does amazing things. I was in her online community Labyrinth Library, and one of the other participants in that formation, LJ, who runs an online writing community called Ceremony Studios, did a show and tell about the decans that blew my mind. Basically, they had created this whole very personal cosmology with the decans. And I was like, I want that. I want that for me. I want to know what my taxonomy is. And like, so how would I reverse engineer that? And that's when it was like, let's do a planner. And so Cory was here on Thanksgiving we were eating Thanksgiving dinner, and I was like, let's do it. And 3 months later, it was done. So there was something, this project definitely had a mind of its own. And I think as all my projects have, they feel like they're pulling me along. And the idea was to create a workbook, a tool, something fun that anyone could use to be observant about time and the seasons and what like my personal experience of time and the seasons is, and to be able to kind of document that and use prompts and questions and music and all of the things to kind of play with that. So Cory, do you want to put a little bit more meat on the bone, so to speak?
That was such a good start. Thank you, Shea. So I'm going back to Beth, your question of like why this, why now? I think I have a few definite things in mind about the creation of this particular planner and with its use of astrology. I find I do a lot of consulting, astrological counseling. And one of the things that always irked me about some of my consultations was this idea that I'm an Aries. I want to talk about Aries. We don't need to talk about Taurus because that doesn't apply to me. And I would be like, that doesn't apply to you. Okay. When the truth is, all 12 signs apply to all of us. The way that the astrological system works is it represents every part of you and every phase of your life and every part of the process of time and a life cycle. Absolutely everything, every living thing has a life cycle, whether it's, a cell in your body that like turns over every couple of days, or that oak tree that's 200 years old. Everything has an inception, a beginning, a growth period, a decay period, and a death. And no one can escape that. And the 12 signs of the zodiac and the 12 houses of the zodiac represent that life cycle. And you could skip over one of the signs because that doesn't have anything to do with me, or I'm not conscious of it having anything to do with me, but it does. And one of the things I love about astrology and working with the symbolism and the archetypes is that when you decide to put your attention on them, that is the consciousness expanding moment. And that's the door to possibly a whole other part of yourself, a whole part of a process that you may have been skipping over just because you can't figure out like how to connect with it. And so that's the whole like aliveness part. I find that the way a lot of people who are new to astrology start working with it is like, oh, well, this part's familiar to me, or this part's exciting to me, or this part resonates. And I'll just like kind of sleep through or skip the other parts because I don't know what to do with that. And in this particular planner, we wanted to give people the experience of consciously trying to create as much of a relationship with all the parts of the life cycle, all the parts of time. And, that's what astrology does. It describes the qualities of time. And so that's one thing. Like why this planner, why now? And then again, the aliveness part, I feel like the word erotic comes into about 90% of my conversations with Shea. Like, what does it mean to be erotic? What is eros? What is creation? Vitality? And so that's where the aliveness comes from. And that's why we have things like cosmic jukebox. Like if you're a sound person, a music person, do you want to move to this? There are little Easter eggs in there that lead to like articles and images so that you can actually, stimulate your imagination visually. And then there's a whole there's a lot of prompts and a lot of guidance towards, it's like a field guide where you could actually anchor into a current quality of time and be guided into, what am I feeling in my body? What am I seeing around me? What are the sounds? What are the smells? What does it make me feel like? So that we can have it be a more somatic practice. And it's this guide to help you do this erotic practice with everything around you at every point in time. Even the quote unquote dead of winter is a time when there's a lot of processes happening, but they're kind of, beneath the threshold of awareness. How do we tap into those? Because some of those are like some of the juiciest processes that there are, like during that fallow period. How can that be alive and exciting and erotic? And so that's two. One more thing, a little pet peeve when I'm working in consultations, that if it wasn't there, we could like jump into some really, really deep work without like getting this part out of the way. And it's this idea that the astrology, or even the tarot, because we have some tarot prompts in there and tarot information, is that I'm this passive recipient of, what the planets are going to tell me, what the planets are going to show me, or that the planets actually cause anything to happen, which that is not a great way to work with astrology. And so we wanted to kind of guide a practice that encourages people to meet the universe, meet the cosmos, meet the dead, meet all these, unseen architects of our experience, meet them halfway. Because not only are these like images and planetary motions mirroring us, back to ourselves, we can also mirror back to the cosmos and to nature and to our dead, how we want to be in relationship with that. It is a conversation. And so I see this workbook as kind of a guide to having that conversation. And why now? Because we are in a time that feels so overwhelming, where it would be so easy to say, you know what, I'm just going to wait and see what happens, or hide under the bed and wait until it gets better. And that is not being in relationship with our environment or each other or ourselves. So yeah, that's my final why this planner, why now, and what for. And I'll stop talking. I could go on for a long time, but I'll stop.
Thank you so much, Cory. Thank you, Shea. And Elena, I think what is also so fascinating about the process for creating this and bringing this into the world is that Shea and Cory had this baby, and they were literally birthing the baby almost completely out. And Elena's like, you know what? Rolls up her sleeves. I'm going to help, right? I'm going to jump in when this thing is almost into the world, when it's like, but still kind of wild and needing some form. And you jumped in there and came in clutch as an editor. And so, Elena, tell us about why you wanted to work on this and what your work and collaboration look like in this process.
Thank you, Beth. I did come in at the last month. So I saw the planner at the end of January, and really was about my relationships with Shea and Cory. Cory and I had been discussing a collaboration of some sort, but my time was limited at the time. So I've been wanting to collaborate with Cory, but didn't know how. And then Shea and I have been collaborating for years with the Symbolic Lab and other formations. And I had a conversation with Shea, and she said, they said, I'm so anxious about these moon transits. And I thought, oh, well, I have a couple hours free. Give it over. I'll check them. And, just check, check, check. Just appreciating that Shea and Cory were dedicated to not using AI, and they were wanting it to feel like a really human-made thing. And I got to look at the writing when I was checking the lunar transits, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Like, I had never dealt with the decans. My astrology knowledge is like very passing and sort of, archetypal. I just hold on to them as symbols. But reading Cory's writing and seeing the art that Shea had laid out, it felt really inspiring. And so we were joking beforehand that it was like Cory and Shea had like created this baby, and it was like crowning in late January, and they were so exhausted from the birth process. And when Shea handed it off, I was like, oh, I'd be happy to give this newborn some attention and kind of check for coherence and put the tarot material next side by side with the astrology deck in, and see how I could weave together these concepts and put a little shine on the baby. Well, I don't want to keep using the baby metaphor, but you all get the point. So it was mostly fully formed when I got it in hand, and then Cory was really generous and really tired when we talked about Pisces, because it was the last one. She'd written, what, 33 portals in 30 days, probably, maybe 60 days. And so she was exhausted, and we were like laughing together in that way that you laugh when you're really tired. And I asked her a question, a technical question, like, oh, well, do you mind if I get in here and do this? Or what do you think about this? And she said, do whatever you would like to do with it, basically. And was like, I trust that whatever you do with it will be fantastic. And she passed it on. And that felt like a really like a bit of trust. Like both of them were trusting me, letting me in on the process. And like I said, I had so much that I wanted to say once I read what they'd compiled so far. And it was really fun just getting to use the skills I've been squirreling away with tarot for 15 years, just having a private love affair with tarot, and then getting to learn more about astrology and take the material that Cory had written and really live into it and think about how these concepts live with me every day and what I wanted to add to the conversation that they were already creating. So that's kind of that was my entry into the process. Thanks for asking, Beth.
Thank you so much, Elena. And Elena, as we were preparing and talking about, what we wanted to talk about this evening on our launch here, you talked about the importance of love in collaboration, and that you wanted to speak a little bit about bell hooks. And so let's bring Bell into the room and talk about love.
Yes, let's. Well, for anyone who isn't familiar with bell hooks uh, is an ancestor, has left us an incredible amount of work, labors of love, books, writing, speeches that I highly recommend. But I wanted to just share one little quote, and I think Shea has the screen share. Thank you, Shea. And this is the only one that feels like important to share. So thank you. I was thinking about, in preparation for this launch, what feels most important to talk about when it comes to the human relationships between us. Because Cory was just speaking about how we relate to the cosmos and how we relate with astrology, and Shea talks about the same thing with tarot. And with my background, I think about how we relate to each other within the collaboration. When I think about relationship, I think about my co-collaborators and the ways that we loved, the ways that we behaved love toward one another, and how that showed up in the planner, how it's baked into this object that we've created. So I want to read this quote from Bell Hooks and invite my brilliant co-collaborators and anyone else to think about how we define love in any given circumstance. It says, to truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. That's Bell Hooks from her book, All About Love.
Beautiful. And that's your artwork, yes, Elena?
Yes, that's a piece of art that I made.
Gorgeous.
I mean, like I said, one way that I felt that I could behave love was to step in knowing my capacities and my limitations at that moment in time, and my feeling that draw toward like catching the baby, if you will, and making the material, adding the aliveness that I could into the already alive material is one way that I could say I behaved love. I also received a lot of love, the trust of Shea and Cory to say, take it from us. We're tired. Or even just plain communication, open, honest communication. I'm tired. That feels like a way of behaving love in collaboration. I could talk about that for hours. So I wondered if any of the co-collaborators, Shea, Cory, do you have any thoughts about how we loved, how we made it an action to love during the process?
I feel like this came up in, we recorded a podcast, which I'm going to send in the follow-up with the recording about in more detail how we made this, and that the quality of our collaboration and the love in that is a medium in the planner. Like it's part of the, like, we knew that when people held it, if I had done the lunar transits with AI, that it would have made it feel different. If we'd been kind of bickering and passive aggressive with each other, you would have felt it. And so the fact that, I mean, I guess I'll just say that the absence of any micromanagement or like the presence of so much trust, that Cory would hand over the writing and I would, it was just, there was no like, oh, well, let me see it before you blah, blah, blah. It was just like, everything was green lights. I trust you was sort of like the whole meta message of the collaboration as far as I was concerned. And just the care, like, I was saying to Elena, I'm so anxious if the lunar transits are accurate. And she heard me and also was like, well, this is something I can do, And I felt all my anxiety drain away as soon as Elena came in, because Cory and I were working so fast that I knew we weren't able to go back and really look and evaluate what we'd done. And so, and it was fun too. Yes, we were tired, but it was also fun. And we hope that people feel that in it too. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
I want to say something because I don't think we mentioned this, and I don't even know if I should mention it, but I'm going to. I think that there's also some extra access for those who are neurodivergent, have trouble seeing or reading. I believe Elena and Shea are doing a recording of this. And so we're trying to, I think that's an act of love, like trying to think about people who just take in information differently. We try to like kind of stretch our minds to accommodate as many different types of learners and readers and practicers as possible. And another, like, Shay was saying it was all green lights, and yeah, I felt that. But also there, to be frank, there was like maybe a one sticky moment, and it had to do with language that, Shay and I had to talk about. And it didn't get sticky or weird because of the trust and because of the forthrightness. You know, I wrote, I took my time with writing the Decans, but I did it, you know, pretty quickly. And, you know, Shea reminded me, like, just, you know, hey, you know, what you said here, this could be taken a certain way by a certain person, you know, just to expand, like, all the different perspectives. And, and so in some of the beginning pages, there's a section like, how, you know, how do I work with some of this information? How do I process it? And that was another act of love. Again, trying to consider as many people as we could who aren't just like us. That it taking that kind of step outside of yourself is really loving and important. So I just want y'all to know that, like, this team did their best to really do that out of an act of love.
Beautiful.
And if I could just tack on to that, you know, I think love, if we're talking about behaving love in terms of accommodation and accessibility, it also feels important to name our limitations. We're three human beings. And I think this can get lost in a world where it is technically possible to do things that are inhuman at an inhuman pace. But we're three humans and we only have the experience that we have. And so what we've created will absolutely not be accessible to every single person, or it won't be for everyone. I love the intro to this planner that Cory wrote. And then there's a note about process that Shea and I crafted. And we're very aware that not everything is for everyone, and wanted to lift that up, like make it very present in the planner that if something isn't for you, great. Now you have that knowledge, like move forward. And so just to dispel myths about like nothing can actually be fully accessible to every single person. That's part of the hallmark of being human beings making things, is that we're going to make things that are from our bodies and our specific experiences, and that's going to mean it's not for everyone. So just wanted to add to that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elena. And thank you, Cory and Shea. And before we head into our collective practice and start to dig into the planner together, Shea, tell us a little bit about how, you know, you've talked about attending to process as a form of magic. And so how did you see that in this process?
Yeah, I think that what Elena was just talking about is actually a really good segue into this, in that, you know, we're so trained through compulsory education and just the way that our culture is, that like we're passing or failing, we're getting it or we're not getting it, we're getting the gold star, we're not, we're completing it, or it's, or we didn't, or we just met the, you know what I mean? Like, and so there's something underneath that experience that's about noting what the process is. What, you know, I hear tarot students say this a lot, like, oh, I haven't been doing anything with my tarot practice, I haven't been pulling cards. And it's like, there's a way to reframe that, you know, that you're turning the field fallow so that something can emerge. You know, there's a way to reframe, like, oh, I didn't write down anything for this decan. I might as well just not even bother. And it's like, actually, you can just make a note that, like, wow, I didn't feel called to pick this up during this time. That's like part of using the workbook, is like, these prompts didn't resonate at all. I didn't have anything to say about this, you know, just to note like which, and everything that's in here in terms of the experiential amulets that Cory wrote and that Elena edited, and the prompts that are on the calendar pages, and all of the things that are in here is just a little scaffolding to get you started. You might realize a few weeks in that you want to work with this in some completely different way that we didn't anticipate. Wonderful. And so through the repetition of going through these 10-day cycles, you can start to notice, just to notice, I tend to engage here and disengage here. I notice that when I do this, this happens. I'm interested to see what happens when I do this. And just noting the process, there's so much information in there. There's no correct answer to anything in here except learning about your relationship to yourself and to your environment and to the land. And yeah, if we really take it out of the realm of like pass, fail, complete, not complete, and just really play like a little Lisa Frank esoteric sandbox, that there's so much magic in engaging with our process and not worry so much about the rest of it. I mean, to me, the process is everything. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. Thank you.
All right, amazing. And so I think it's time to do a little magic together. Cory, do you want to tell us about the current astro moment and help us do some seed planting?
Oh my goodness. What today is the spring equinox. The sun just entered Aries. So on behalf of astrologers everywhere, this is our happy new year. This is ground zero for a whole cycle. And so happy new year, spring equinox, happy Aries season. And I'm like so thrilled. I see a friend in here who I have not seen in years, Lena. And I know you're in Aries too. I'm in Aries. And so what we're experiencing today is the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. I think of 0 degrees Aries as it's a fire that has no memory. This is novel. It's brand new. This is the clean slate. And especially because astrology is cycles. So there are cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. We're at a particular moment in the world's history where we're getting astrology that has a lot of these words attached to it. Like, I'm sure you've heard the word unprecedented a million times, over the past few months. Novel, new, never seen this before. And that is also reflected in the astrology. So the sun right now is there, 0 degrees Aries. We just had a major outer planet unprecedented conjunction at 0 degrees Aries last month. Mercury, I believe, maybe at this moment is standing still in the sky in Aries on the north node of the moon. And the nodes determine where we get our eclipses. And we have just got out of eclipse season. 2 days ago, we had a new moon in Pisces at the anaretic degree, which is the last degree of Pisces. So we're in this place where something really big is ending. Long cycles are ending, as described by that new moon at the last degree of Pisces. If you look in your book, it's just the end. That's the end of the road, end of the line. We're done. And then we have all this action at the very beginning of Aries. And here we are. I have no memory. I can't take anything with me. And if I try to, that's going to be a really heavy lift. And why would you want to do that when you have this opportunity to just go forward? So the quality of time right now is, it is fertile. And if you let something go at that new moon in Pisces, it's a big surrender. I am done with this moment. And then we jump to today, where we have this clean slate, and Mercury, the planet of, cognition and communication and processing, is standing still in the sky at Aries. It wants to say something brand new. It wants to think something brand new that changes everything, because it's at that north node, where we get our eclipses. So this is very, very fertile soil that we are sitting in, standing on. And if you look, and if you are using your book, today would be the first day, to use your book. Aries Decan 1, it's that crowning that, we've been talking about babies and things. And so like the head is just breaking ground. The little sprout is just pushing through the soil. What is it you're doing? What do you want to plant? Just really simple, because it's 0 Aries. What is brand new? And I think that's the major news of today.
Shay, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'd be happy to, and kind of get us going for this practice or ritual that we're going to do, to kind of charge up your planner as we begin. And so this is a moment where you can decide that you want to do this now while we're in the Zoom room together, or you might want to do it later, and that's fine. So to just respond to how it feels in this moment, right? So some questions that you might want to consider about, when we say intention setting practice, like what does that mean? You might want to ask yourself, how do I want my relationship with this workbook to feel? How do I want it to feel when I pick up this workbook and tuck into it? Or what is a word or a spell or words of power that you want to carry with you every time you engage with it? Something that you want to, and these are in the chat if it's easier to access it there, something that you want to explore or research more deeply as you begin. And then something that I think is really important, because this is something that I think as human beings, we can get stuck on at like the start of the astrological new year, or, it's sort of like, how might we leave some space to check in and adjust, amend, or change our intention as we move throughout the year? In other words, so that whatever we come up with today at the start of Aries season, how might we check in kind of seasonally and see, like, is this intention, is this feeling that I wanted, this relationship to feel like, is it still true, or do I need to change it? So we don't lock ourselves in and be like, I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. Again, anything that can get us out of that training that we've had, And so these are some questions that you might consider. You might have your own question. You might just want to, write a sentence that expresses your intention. These are just some ideas. And then to actually engage with these questions, you might want to shuffle and pull a card at random from a tarot deck or an oracle deck to generate an image that gives you a keyword or a seed that you want to plant, or an intention, to let the card prompt you. You could go through your deck face up and choose a card or multiple cards that resonate with how you want to relate to the planner throughout the year. So in other words, these ideas are ways that you can prompt yourself with the original questions. You can use bibliomancy. So you can pick a book off your shelf. You can use the planner as the book that you do bibliomancy with. And just pick a random page and let your finger land on a spot. And whatever that word or phrase is, let that be a prompt or a seed. Or you could just write for a few minutes or just sit quietly and see what emerges, or anything else that you want to do. And we're just going to take some time together. I'd love to give us 10 minutes. Does that feel, so you can take some time? And we'll come back in 10 minutes. And then, if anyone wants to share out, that would be lovely. No pressure. Any questions? Okay. Bon voyage. We'll see you at 10 after. So you may be complete with your practice, or you may just be getting into it, and that is fine either way. Um, we'd love to spend the next 15 minutes or so hearing from you, either about your practice or questions that you have about the planner. We're going to do the raffle drawing about 25 after. If you have to pop off early, that's fine. But would love to just open it up and hear from you all. Hey, Peg.
Hey, I'm really glad I was able to come. I really feel like I have a lot more. I mean, I kind of had a concept just opening it up, but I feel a lot more aliveness about the whole thing just personally. And the words I wrote down of what I wanted to be fun and pleasurable and easy. And the last two words that came to me, I really like companionable and aligned. Like I can't make it too hard. I don't need a special journal. I don't need anything special. I also do a lot of sensory observational practices from a writing community I'm in, and this feels really integrated with that, which is also where the alignment idea came from. So thanks a lot.
I love the phrase sensory observation practice. That feels like a really good way to understand what these prompts are that are on the calendar pages. It's really just you can
What you're
use
seeing, just the environment. It's
exactly,
very
exactly.
concrete.
Yeah, I love it's companionable, just like somebody that you want to have around, not someone who's going to like give you a hard time. Yeah,
Or make you
beautiful.
feel guilty.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks again, Peg, for this whole idea. Really appreciate you. Anyone else? Pam, is it okay if I screen share your image? Do you want to say anything about it?
Well, just to say one thing about the deck, when I first started doing some things that involved tarot, I ordered this deck, which came 8 months, 9 months later, a couple of days ago. So this was my first time looking through it and looking face up. This is what I picked, and I'm still thinking about it. But I think it has both spring and letting go.
Absolutely. This is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Pam. Kinning and then Kathy.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, thank you so much for creating such a soulful offering. I actually don't think the word planner does it justice because we're not really planning anything. We're being with the energy. And I'm a planner, recovering planner addict. Like I've never finished a planner. I felt super pressured by planners. So I really love your framing of companionship and accompaniment. And I just want to share my answers. I pulled tarot cards for this. So the relationship I wanted to feel like a celebration of life, Three of Cups, both in the flavors of bitterness and sweetness. The word spell I want to carry with me. Originally, I thought it was going to be aliveness because it's in the title, and I really love that. But I pulled Knight of Pentacles, so I'm centering. The word is recentering, returning to center and grounding. Something to engage with more deeply, I pulled Knight of Swords, and I have decision overwhelm, so support in making decisions with this planner. Again, not planning, but deciding in the moment. And then leaving space to amend and adjust, I pulled Five of Pentacles, which to me meant honoring limitations and seasons of fairy tale winter, however that might take shape. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kinning. That's amazing. And again, thank you so much for the spaces that you create and hold that lead to, the flowering of people's creativity. That feels like really sacred work at this time. Kathy. You're on mute, my love.
I was listening intensely, so I'm not sure I'm going to remember what I wanted to say. I got my card, so I think I'm gonna put a picture of each of the the cards that you mentioned. I didn't really understand how this worked, but I feel like I grasped it somehow, even though you didn't say, do this and look up that. Um, and it does really feel like Cory said that um, there, like this little guy, everything can be brand new. And I don't really know what it is. I pulled this with your prompt, Shay, and that feels, even though I really don't like locusts, they're one bug that kind of creeps me out. It's pretty beautiful. So what you've done today was kind of grounded me in this book, and I feel like it can companion with me into a new era, and I really appreciate that. I like hearing about how you guys all work together. It's pretty special. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Lena, I pulled the Magician as well. Interesting. Crystal put in the chat, I pulled this poem from the bookshelf, and like everything in the first decan feels just simply true. Vespers by Louise Gluck. I know what you planned, what you meant to do, teaching me to love the world, making it impossible to turn away completely, to shut it out completely ever again. It is everywhere. When I close my eyes, bird song, scent of lilac in early spring, scent of summer roses. You mean to take it away, each flower, each connection with earth. Why would you wound me? Why would you want me desolate in the end? Unless you wanted me so starved for hope, I would refuse to see that finally nothing was left to me, and would believe instead, in the end, you were left to me. Wow. That feels incredibly profound. And a blessing and a spell for all of us. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I have to say, I have this book of poetry, which is her anthology, and it never fails to just be relevant. I just opened it up to a page, and it is simply like this kind of magic consistently.
Bibliomancy is real. The oracle speaks in all of these ways. Robin said, I pulled the Three of Pentacles and I'm looking forward to connecting with others who are using the planner over in the Discord. Yeah, I guess we should mention that although it's not fully formed, we have heard from people who are interested in engaging with the planner in relationship with others who are also using it. And so Cory and Elena and I are still kind of working out what it might look like to gather online once a month to just check in and see how people are relating with it and what other people are doing with it. And yeah, very Three of Pentacles energy. Elena says, we're toying with the idea of fourth Fridays of the month. Yes? Sure. Yeah. It'll be, we will keep you posted. If you want to hear about that, like what the final details are, just make sure you're signed up for my newsletter at shayandthecatskills.com. Ree said, I pulled the Fool this morning and it felt right then and even more right this evening after learning about the new beginning that is the vernal equinox. Big Fool energy, the way Cory described the current quality of time. Would anyone else like to share out? or have questions about the planner. Jane.
Just sharing that I drew one card from the deck for how I wanted my relationship to this planner to feel. And this is it. Queen of Wands.
May it be so. Did you pull that randomly, Jane?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty chuffed.
I love that for you, Jane. Would anyone else like to share?
I said I wanted it to feel portable, and I really want to thank you for making a PDF available, because that way I don't have to worry about messing anything up. I can print out pages and fold them up and carry them around on, in my daily life, and stick them in a loose leaf binder and add extra pages if I feel like it. And that contributes to wanting to hold things loosely and notice and change. Thank you.
I love that, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that. And before I call on Jenna, I just want to read a few things out of the chat. Lena says, I'm really excited about this because I have ADHD and 10 days feels like such a snackable amount of time to plan. Yes, love that. Love that. A little longer than a week, not a lunation. Yeah. Erin said that her bibliomancy from Wild Edge of Sorrow, quote, when we approach our inner life with reverence, something great will approach us. Wow. Good for you, Erin. That's beautiful. Jenna, please. Jenna, I see you're off mute, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So I drew a series of cards from the Lineages of Change tarot deck. And this is like maybe the third time I've used it, but it felt like very spot on. So Three of Water was one of the cards I selected, and I'm just going to read. This card is about the sacred work of creation, birth, friendship, sitting with a group and just being yourself, feeling the flow between your authenticity and being known. When you know each other deeply, you activate each other's capacity to thrive and heal. The second card I drew was Ten of Air, which is sometimes it's all too much. There can be a pervasive sense of defeat, of impending catastrophe. Such desolation is not always just on our minds. It is rough out there. We have no choice but to face it, to feel it, to recognize it as a crisis to be addressed. And then the last one that I thought was so spot on was that I drew was the Seven of Water. There's a role for fantasy, an important one. Everyone deserves a vision of what they want, to have the sweetness of their longings manifested into dreams, sleeping and waking. Use fantasy as a tool to get in touch with what you really want, what your deepest inner self needs in order to feel satisfied in this life. Yeah, I just wanted to share. These just felt like such an alignment. And thank you so much for this gift of this Decan. I've been wanting to do a Decan walk, and this feels very manageable. I also appreciate that it's not it's a workbook, but it's not another journal, as I'm struggling to keep up with my own book of shadows. So like being able to pull from this, incorporating it into my own, and yeah, I feel very grateful for the work that you've put together in this. And congratulations. This is an amazing, amazing piece of work. And thank you.
Jenna, thank you so much. It feels like your poll covered all of the existential bases. And yeah, here's to the uses of fantasy. That feels so important. Um, Beth, I am going to turn it back to you, to if you want to do your share out and just bring us home. Thank you, everyone who shared. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Hey, friends. All right. We're in our last 5 minutes together. And then I'm sure Cory, Shay, and Elena and other people, if you want to hang out a little bit afterwards or have other questions, they'll be around. And so I am an organizer, community organizer, by trade, which means there's always going to be an ask at the end of a call. And and that ask is about bringing more people along with us. And so what I would love for us to do is if we can take just a minute or two now and think of one person that you want to text about this planner. If we can drop a link to the planner in the chat. Is there someone you think needs to know about this planner? Is there maybe you take a photo of the card you pulled or the bibliomancy and the planner and put it on Instagram with a link to buy the planner, or whatever Blue Sky social media that you use. Or if you've got extra money and you're like, I have a friend who really needs this planner and I want to get it for them and ask them to do it with me. This is the time to do that, because we believe, and I know that the planner has found us, this companion of ours. And maybe there's other people who want to be in this with us. And so I am both a person of magic and also someone who puts some material, like behind a spell. And so we want this, I heard Shay say, I've never wanted something to catch a wave so much as this planner before. And so that's our intention. And then it's up to us to also help this get into the world, to do the work of it. And so I will say I've already sent a newsletter out with this in it. I got Shay on a podcast of a friend of mine's, and got a contributor copy, at least one out so far, or two, to some other people who could share about the planner. And so yeah, if you can think of anyone right now, if you can share it when we get off this call, that would be incredible. All right. Great question, Jen. I love this. Very sweet. All right. And now there is a contest, my friends. Shay, let's raffle. Let's raffle.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me do this. I want you all to know that I made this and I have not, even though I've made it, I have not clicked it. This will be its maiden voyage. So everyone who submitted their receipt to me, I put your name on this little random spinner, and we're going to spin it right here, right now, and see who wins the raffle. Are we ready? Okay.
I'm so excited. I cannot, honestly.
Oh,
Megan!
oh my gosh, Meg, congratulations.
Are you kidding? Are you all kidding? That's so good. Thank you so much. Holy moly.
We will get in touch with you to get your information so that we can do all the things. But congratulations to you, Megan. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, amazing, amazing.
This is so thrilling, Megan. It's an incredible reading. It's one of the best things I've ever experienced. So, congrats. Well, we are coming to a close. Any last words, Cory, Shay, Elena, that you'd like to say?
Thank you. What a delight to gather around this beautiful work of art. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Beth, for hosting, and thank you, Shay. Thank you, Elena, for working with me and Quinn and our whole jukebox crew and everybody who came. Just so much gratitude. Yeah, we're going to be hanging out if anyone wants to chat about anything or if they have lingering questions.
Let's all give our spirit fingers emojis, love through the screens. May this project reach everyone it's supposed to be. May it be companions for all of us. Thank you all for your work. And thanks everybody for being in this community with us together. It's beautiful. Happy New Year.
Is it time for supper? The person who asked the question about, oh, Jenna. Okay. Yeah, I'll get that. I'll put that in the follow-up. Amazing. Amazing.
Y'all, thank you so much. This raffle is like
You really
this
hit
is
the jackpot.
beyond, y'all.
I have both the art and I've had the reading, and
Y'all,
I'm
thank
so
you
glad.
so much. What an incredible gift. And thank you, Beth, for organizing me into this. I really appreciate it. You
I'm
organized me
so
in
glad.
Braden. You organized me here, on and
So good.
on. Yeah, thanks, y'all. This was so powerful. I needed this today. It was exactly what I needed. I'm so grateful.
It's so nice to meet you, and I can't wait to tuck into your chart with Cory.
I am like,
So
are
good.
you kidding? It's freaking Christmas. I'm like losing my mind. I'm stoked.
It's so good.
Amazing.
Thanks, y'all, so much. And I am so excited to connect more soon.
Yes.
Bye,
Yes.
Megan. So good to see
Bye,
you.
y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So great to see you, Cory.